Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, everyone. I apologize for running a little late. We had a little difficulties with the uh, service. But anyway, today is another day good above ground. And what I would like to do is to jump right into introducing my guest, Mr. Michael Johnson. How you doing, sir?
Great, how you doing, Rod?
How's everything, man? I'm really excited to have you back in the studio.
Glad to be back, you know that.
Yeah. So that topic today is supporting the youth. We just had a thing down in Fort Hunt, where it was seeing a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
That was a really good situation, man. Just seeing people. We weren't seeing people at a funeral.
Right. Yeah.
But one of the things that excited me was just thinking that we were all done, but I didn't see many young people.
Right. Yeah.
So what were we doing with the young people, man?
Well, you just brought up a great point, right? And that was a great get together. You know, we had over about 200, 300 people there. I wish those 200 to 300 people would have come out when we trying to do things in the community. And I think if those 300 people would have showed up before they start tearing down the projects and some of the homes up in the Parker Great Charles Houston area, it'd be still our neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's not our neighborhood anymore. And that's the reality that we have to face. That's also a place in our hearts and minds where we got to say, hey, what did I do to contribute to this? Or what did I did not do to help the cause so this wouldn't happen? And I think that's where unevenness come about with some of the things that's taking place with our youth in the city.
Yeah. It's almost like we kind of left them out there all alone.
Yeah.
And so that's not a good thing. But we wondering why they're committing so many crimes and suicide, and they're not trying to move forth in the future. But when you don't know, you don't know.
Right. Yeah. And then you look at that copycat, because the media will televise anything that our youth do bad. Very seldom do they put on there what they're doing good. So our kids have been accustomed to seeing the negative of their life. You know, as we grew up in that area. We didn't have all the shootings and the fights and so forth.
Right.
Because we had, they call them OGs, and then the young boys call us you know,
right,
like that.
Right.
But we had guys that, if you brought unwanted attention to them or the neighborhood, they step to you.
Right.
We don't have that happening in that neighborhood anymore, because everybody that at one time was the strength of the neighborhood, we're just about gone. And then you're looking at mothers and grandmothers at 35 now, mothers at 15, 16 years old. And that's something that we got to change. You know, I don't point the finger too often, but I know the system is designed for just what it's doing. You know, if you look at that, they put us in ICE, what we call ISO, what you call them, the word I'm looking for, isolation in a sense, right? We're in a box.
Yeah.
And there's no way out of that box. You know, they isolate us. So what you see other youth getting, our kids haven't been getting. And this is just my philosophy. Gentrification brought all this on. See, when they sat back and said, well, we're gonna build these new homes and we're gonna change the neighborhood and we're gonna inspire the people to want to live better and do better. Well, they didn't give us all the tools to live better and do better. They had already had their foundation set. You know, we come from a foundation that even though it was cracked, it never broke. You know, these kids are in a foundation that has completely collapsed on them. And because of the parents being so young, because of the resources somewhat being out there but not directed by us, you feel me? Because I don't know what it's like to live in Beverly Hills, but I know what it's like to live in Parker Great Charles Houston neighborhood.
Right.
You know, so I know that the people that my heart and soul is for them. Our young folks, we throw a lot of things at them, but we're not giving them anything of substance. If you have a program for them, but that program ain't consistent, the behavior isn't going to change, because behavior is learned. So if I see gangsters all day, if I see dealers all day, what do you think I'm going to be? Now, you might get, out of 10 kids, you might get one. You might get one that's going to break that change. But back in our day, we had 30, 40, 50 coming through at a time.
Yeah.
That say, hey, I know it's a better life, so we're gonna live that better life.
Yeah.
We don't have that, and that's why I blame gentrification and how they came in a neighborhood that they wouldn't even walk through. Now they walk through and look at us like we don't belong there.
Yeah.
And our kids see that, because the kids know who's pure, who's true, and our school system, same way. Look how unstable it is,
It's amazing that even in this day and time, things like that is so prevalent, and we see it, but we don't have the backing to go in there and address it, except by means like the community things that you do and a few other individuals, to try to let the kids know that they have someone who really care about their future. When one of the things that bothered me was the way that the recreation center changed.
That was our biggest. That's one of the biggest holes that we have yet to fill. Even though I work for the Department of Recreation, community outreach specialist. I also one of the lucky ones that I actually train law enforcement. I'm an instructor for the CIT, which is Crisis Intervention Training. My focus is mainly kids in crisis, but then they brought me over to help law enforcement when they run across someone that might have a mental issue or someone that might be using a substance, So us bringing that, or me coming out being into that environment, has shown me a different perspective. But I'm also seeing where the holes are. And I've been preaching this, not just me, but other guys that's been out there in the neighborhood. Yourself, you've been there, Teddy Jones with the Untouchables and all those guys. We've been telling them for years that just give us the resource and let us do the work.
Yeah.
But they kept putting people in and promoting people that didn't have our kids' best interests at heart. Not everybody, but a lot of them.
Right.
A lot of them took those jobs for the pay. Nobody really asked them, is your heart really into this job? Because you really impact our young folks' life in a positive or negative way. And when you're a teacher and you saying you don't want to come to school no more to teach the kids because of the behavior, or you're retiring because the kids are, as they say, off the hook.
Or out of control.
Or out of control. How did they get there?
Hey, and that's by learn. That's a learned behavior.
That's a learned behavior. Exactly.
They're not born in a situation where they say, I'm going to grow up to sell drugs and to rob and steal and drop out of school and have babies at a young age. If you don't have that kind of structure, because you also know when we were younger, the girls got pregnant, but it was very seldom.
Very seldom.
Because we also had that family structure where
That's right.
the boys knew you better protect yourself.
Protect yourself. That's right.
Because your parents, they was going to say if you got her pregnant, you going to take care of
Take care. I had that happen to me with my father. That's how I ended up in the Marine Corps. That right there. He told me, I said, well, Daddy, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to be all right. He said, no. That's your baby. You made that baby. I'm looking at you. You going to take care of that baby. He told me, because I was going through this, we're young, we have kids, and the relationship folds and you don't get as close to that woman or that man that you're dating, but we use that against our kid.
Yeah.
Because I hate you, or you hate the father or the mother now, we're going to separate their kid.
Yeah.
I don't care if a man can pay $1 million or a man can pay zero, or a woman. If we need both of them in the same place, on the same page with our kids. The system was designed to separate us, and that's why I'm saying it's going to take a while for us to even go back and clean it up. It ain't going to happen in my lifetime. It ain't going to happen in yours. I'm hoping that my grandsons and my grandkids will be able to come in and make a positive impact so we can start changing that. We can because it only take one match, one person, start a fire.
Yeah.
we that match.
Yeah.
But they gotta make sure that fire grow and grow and grow.
Right.
You know, and that's something we haven't been doing. You know, and the system is so designed that, especially like this George Floyd thing with a lot of people, they talk about this equity and all that. Well, get the equity to our kids. Cause see, I don't have too much time left here. And I hope when I leave here, and I go meet the man upstairs for the party instead of downstairs party, that he can say, Michael, you know what? I used to say this all the time around there, just to get off subject for a minute. I used to say, I don't know how I got here. But as I got older, I said, you know what? This is where God wanted me to be. Because I worked for the power company for like 10 years making big bucks. Would have been making mega bucks now. I walked away from it. People thought I was crazy, I'm this and that, you know, and like I tell people, you know my name, but you don't know my story, you know. But your heart have to be into these kids. The system just haven't given us that protection that we really need. They ask us for our opinion, but do they really listen to the opinion that we're giving back? I don't think they are. That's why we have the carjackings, 13, 14 years old. I run across it on a regular basis, you know, because like I said, I work very closely with law enforcement. I'm not scared to tell people, yeah, you might see me riding in the police car with a law enforcement officer. That don't mean I'm pointing you out. That means I'm going to assist a kid or an adult that's in trouble.
But I want to speak about that. A lot of times this also by design, that we have this label that if you were the police, you a snitch.
Snitch, yeah,
that's not true.
That's not true.
And also that they also by design made it that the police is against us.
Right.
But that's not true.
That's
either.
not true either.
People.
It's people.
Mm-hmm. It's not the police force.
No.
Because
it's an individual. That's right.
You remember back when we were younger, we had police that come in the neighborhood, black and white.
Black and white.
They knew us
right.
by name.
By name. And knew your parent.
Right. So after a while, it got to where even with their process, they gotten to the point where they got caught in the system.
Right.
By design.
By design. And it's the people that are instructors that teach law enforcement those behaviors.
Right.
Because now, and I would say this, and I'm gonna give kudos to the Alexandria Police Department, way before Chief Don Hayes came on board as chief. I worked with Don, and a lot of people don't know this, way back in the 80s during the crack epidemic in Alexandria. He was one of the very only police officer that came into the neighborhood, whether he was in uniform or out, to help us whatever community events we had. He was there, you know. So now we're trying to change that mindset. A lot of the law enforcement officers right now, we're going to put in place, and it's not just me. I'm working with Howard University on a lot of other things too. But we want to teach these law enforcement officers the history of the communities. You know, even though the community is now shattered, we still want to teach them the history of those communities. That every black person you see that coming down the street with their pants hanging off don't mean they're a thug. Every Spanish kid is not a thug. We never put those labels on white kids that with their pants hanging down.
Well, one of the problems is though, and this is really where it bothered me, that sometimes, okay, we can point the finger, but also we got to take responsibility. See, because I talked to some young guys and I asked them, why do you walk with your pants hanging down when you know what that symbolizes?
That's right.
And they look at me like, I really don't care. But you should care. And again, then this becomes an issue with leadership. Because if you come into schools and your pants hanging down, they shouldn't allow.
You shouldn't allow.
When they come in the house and your pants hanging down, you shouldn't allow. Because we let society dictate, and we have a tendency to say, well, it's nothing we can do about it, but it is.
Right. Now, with that being said, Rod, you just touched on something very important. See, our parents would discipline us back in the day. But then we had this system that said, you can't beat your kid, you can't talk to them a certain way, and you can't do this and you can't do that. So the kids said, hey, I got all the freedom. The kids now have more technology and access to information that we didn't have.
Right.
So if you say, I'm gonna put you on punishment, they go right in and say, I just read on the internet, and they might be flunking in school, but they'll go there and tell you, oh, the law says you can't do X, Y, and Z to me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the power that was given to them by the system.
Yes.
You see, we didn't have that power. Our parents tell you, what was it saying?
I brought you
I
in
brought
this
you
world,
in, and I take you out.
I brought you in this
That's
world,
right.
and I take you out. And that's one of the things that, again, I remember one time my son used to say, Dad, why all the time, you know, when you get mad, you know, you come at me? Because I would say, look, don't disrespect me.
Right.
Don't come at me like
That's
that, because
right.
I will kill you.
That's right.
But,
I brought you here.
but see, it wasn't the physical kill.
Exactly. It was just like, if you get to this point, I'm gonna bring you back in.
I'm gonna bring you back in.
I'm gonna bring
I
you
will
back in.
die for you.
Right.
To a point, and so that was so hard for some of them to understand when I would go to that level and say, yo, if you do this, I'm gonna kill you. You know, so I had to start to just readjust, trying to adjust with society and say, you know what, okay, it's not that I'm gonna kill you, but what I want you to know is that I'm gonna do everything in my power
To save you.
to save you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do everything in my power to save you. And I tell that to each and every kid that I come in contact with. Because I'm telling you, what I see on a regular basis is kids of color and African American kids, they are now committing suicide
Yeah.
because they don't have any coping skills. They feel as though I'm just here.
Well, how do a kid go into a school, and we're not talking about, we're talking all over the world, we have these issues,
Yeah.
but how do a kid go into school and shoot another child?
Well, that tells you that, number one, value wasn't placed on him or her.
Right.
So I can't place value on your life
So,
if you didn't value my
Right.
life, I don't value mine.
right.
So it's easy. It's real easy. And I've spoken to gang members. I've spoken to a young man that got 51 years, you know, and this young man hurt me so bad that he was on his way to college. And then I found out that he wasn't in college, that he was in jail, locked up, because he ran with some guys. A guy told him that he had been jumped by these other guys. And what happened was, they go back with some guys in another car, and they shoot at the guy driving, miss him, kill the young lady that's sitting next to him, and she got a 1-year-old kid. And then the young man gets 51 years, right? So I told him, you won't see none of your family members. And he told me, I didn't shoot, I was just in the car. Okay, that's guilt by association. But why you allow them, because you didn't have a record, to put that charge on you, because they told him, you don't have a record, so you'll get off free. He got 51 years. The reason why I know this was my nephew.
But that's another thing by society itself that puts us in a position that tricks us to believe that they have all the intentions of rehabilitating us to make sure that we getting taken care of. I got a cousin that's he got 3 life sentences for the charge of rape. Okay, and honestly, I know that he did not. I'm not saying that he didn't commit a crime,
Right.
but I know what he did didn't constitute 3 life sentences.
Right.
Okay, and it was because it was a white woman involved.
That's cruel and unusual punishment. I'm not gonna call the names live on this show, but growing up, a couple of guys that grew up with us got the same charge and just got out when they was 59, 58 years old.
Right, and we understand that we got people out here that have killed black people.
That's right.
And they don't get a year.
Day, a day or a year. That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And when you think about it, the only thing that really bothers me, and how do I say this without it sounding racial? There's a lot of white folks out there that know the truth.
Right. And there's some good white folks out there that's trying to help and have come out. And some places I've been, I told them just that. Let me drive the car through the neighborhood. You can ride the back seat. In other words, you can help me what I have to do.
Yeah.
But they have to see me.
Yeah.
You know, you can support me. I want the support.
Yeah.
Because we need it. Because we don't have any big financial institutions. And then some of the people that are making money, they're not putting it back into our kids and our communities, you know. So yeah, it's white folks that are trying to help, but then there's some other ones that's saying one thing and doing something different.
Yeah, right.
Because I go into meetings and they turn beet red in the face when I get on them, but I'm gonna stay on them because I got a short tenure here left with the city. I'm gonna do something else. But one of the big issues with our youth, and that's why it brings me to telling you about Saturday when we do the team block party. See, I want the kids to come out and have fun. I want them to go into the game truck. I want them to come and talk to some of the therapists I'm gonna have there for them. I want them to interact with some of the guest speakers I'm gonna have there, you know. But I also want them to get the message. What y'all doing is self-destruction, right? And I think who made a record somebody made a record about self-destruction. Right.
I know.
We're headed to self-destruction, and that's where we was at.
Yeah. And
that's where we are at with our young folk. We have basically put them on the road to self-destruction.
And this is part of the reason why I do this podcast, and it's called People to People. It used to be Let's Talk, Real Talk Live with Rodney Grimes. I changed it to People to People because that is what it's all about. White, black, Hispanic, Asian.
We all together.
We all together.
We all together.
And when I said I didn't want it to sound racial, I got to go back to that. See, the problem was that a lot of times, even still, we have some white folks that know the problem, but don't want to do anything about it. But then we got a lot of black folks that know the problem that don't want to do nothing about it either.
Right.
So now we in a little turmoil because we got these young kids that are looking at us and saying, yo, so why should I care?
Yeah, why should I care?
And they don't, this what really bothers me, and this one all ends, don't nobody really want to say nothing until one of them kids do something to them.
That's right. And that's when they jump out.
And that's when they jump out.
Right.
When we could eliminate them.
Right. And we've been doing things for years in the community. You know, like I say, with the Untouchables, Keith Burns, Mr. Dawkins, old folks.
Yes.
You know, pulled me to the side a long time ago. And, you know, I thought I was going to be this great athlete. And he busted my bubble. He said, you ain't no good. He said, but guess what? You can do something else in life. That stuck with me so long that when he came back and he started the Hoop Academy and the Alexander African American Hall of Fame and got the bricks in front of Charles Houston to remember our history.
Yeah.
So I understood that this older guy reached back to me to pull me in.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of the Mr. Dawkins, Mr. Ofo, which are out there, pull a kid in. And that's why I come back to what you were saying about Saturday when they had 300 people at the cookout. What could we do with 300 people in our community on the same page?
Lucky said something that really, it was profound. And I promise from this point on, whenever I hear something that's going on in our hometown, don't wait till the last minute to do something. Hold on. Hello, caller. State your name and where you calling from.
It's Boo Jones. I'm calling from a bedroom.
What's up there, Boo Jones? How you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing?
You see, I got Michael Johnson in here. We talking.
I see that. That's my homie.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's family. That's family.
Boo Jones, I used to chase him around when he was young. Get on him all the time. But the way Boo at now.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually, we have a podcast here called The Man in the Mirror. We do every last Thursday of the month.
Okay.
That's a project that Boo started.
Right. Yeah. I think I've seen it once. He was on. As a matter of fact, he was on.
Yeah. I'm actually on there with him. What's up? Hey, Boo, tell me something good.
Hey, man, that's you segue into the statement I was gonna make. That's the thing that we can do for the youth is to show unity to them.
Right.
If we see us showing unity one to another, then like they at least get a glimpse of what it looked like.
What it looked like. That's what I said about their history. They gotta find it. They gotta learn their history. You know, because we're taught a whole different thing in school.
And if we start showing it to them by supporting one another and whatever we doing,
Right.
positive,
That's right.
then it's like it shouldn't be no reason why we don't know what the other person doing in the same area if they doing something for the community.
Right.
Right.
We supposed to be supporting one another.
Hey, Boo, I mean, that's powerful what you just said. That's powerful what you just said. There's no reason that Michael Johnson should be doing something in the community and Rodney Grimes don't know about it and don't come out to support it. It's nothing that Lucky Elliott is doing in the community and every other black male that grew up in Alexandria don't step up and come and do his part. Because that's our responsibility.
That's it. That's it, man. You know, and my thing is try to lead by example.
That's right.
And don't point the finger.
Don't point the finger.
I mean, just do my part.
Yeah.
Hey, we know the truth. I'm gonna tell you. I read something the other day, and I heard it, and it said that, and it was Martin Luther King was talking. I don't know where I saw this at, but I remember it because it was real heavy on my heart. He said, they said, yeah, pull your bootstrings up.
Pull your body bootstrap.
Pull them up by the bootstring,
You
right?
ain't got no string.
You ain't got no string. You ain't got no boot.
Ain't got no boot.
I got that on my page too, right?
I bet that's where I saw that, boo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook page. That's one of the clips.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what that's.
When they was interviewing him, and they said, "How you gonna tell a bootless man to pull himself
Something
up by
about
the
boots.
Boots.
That's
And he
right.
ain't got no
He
boots.
ain't got no boots. He ain't got no string.
How do you tell a young person that they have a future when you won't even talk to them?
Talk to him. Well, you can't show him anything about the future.
It's coming up on the anniversary again. My daughter passed it. I don't know if Mike knows about
No, I didn't know that, boo. Sorry to hear that, bro.
Yeah. My daughter, they said she committed suicide.
Okay.
So, actually, Boo, I have something lined up, and you know we'll talk as well, but to talk about individuals who lost their children, whether it was through suicide or murder or through just a regular
Right.
death.
That's a deep and a needed
Right.
topic.
See, like, you notice I said they say, you
Right.
know, because she was speaking up against she was a powerful speaker against that police brutality in Baltimore.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's still shaky.
Right.
Know? So,
Right. Yeah, but I have a friend that that's a law enforcement officer, and he lost his son to suicide. And every day when it happened, I mean, like I told him, I can't imagine it. But I'm gonna be there with you.
Firstborn, man.
Right. I'm gonna be there with you to, to carry this load. But I used to have to call this guy every day because he wouldn't answer the phone calls. So I just text him and say, look, if you don't answer me in 2 minutes, wherever you at, and I knew he was at home, I said, I'm coming there. And I went to his house, and I told him, you're not gonna wallow in this. We're gonna live, and the only thing about suicide is a very selfish act that you can do because the people that you leave behind,
It's gonna suffer.
They suffer.
Yeah.
And they damage.
Well, let us address that for anyone who's watching right now, because it's not just children that commit suicide, but it's adults too.
Right.
And when you get to some point, and I've been there, and I'm gonna tell you that, when you get to the point where depression sets in and you feeling like there's nobody to care and you don't have nobody to turn to, that is not true.
But what drives that? Stress, lack of resources, and lack of information
And lack of support.
and support. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And no faith base.
Right.
Well, I know I've been, hey Mike, I've been to the brink of, of not existing, and I know if it wasn't for the faith, if I didn't have a believer in a power greater than me, a God, per se, then I wouldn't be here talking to you right now.
Yeah.
But hey, Boo, but that's another thing. So we talking about that. We talking about what do the kids, what do the youth have to turn to? What are the churches doing?
Right.
What are the congregations doing?
Hey, Rodney, you know, it starts in the home, right?
It starts.
The thing about, my grandmother lived around the corner from Mike growing up,
Yeah.
right? And when
Miss
I was
Bernice
over
had the same name my mom. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was over her house, and we was kids, Sunday morning we didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
We had to go to church with her.
Yeah.
Well, but that's what all our parents though.
Right.
we had something instilled in us that was called morals.
Right. And the bridge.
Let me ask you a question then. Why, if it's good for us and we came out pretty good, even though we made some pit stops, why is that good for them? Why are we not doing the same thing for them?
What? That's what I was going to touch on, Boo. It's like the bridge. The bridge has an opening in it, and we have to build and put those boards back.
Yeah.
You see, to
My
make
man.
that bridge whole again.
Yeah.
We allow our selfish individual drives and acts to take us away from what's really important to us. Because God, and I know y'all heard this before, because we the same age just about. When you leave this earth, ain't no U-Haul truck coming with you.
No.
So you better leave a footprint.
Right.
And that's what I want to do. I want to leave a footprint, and the day I leave, all I want them to say about me is, hey, you know what? He gave it his best shot.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that this was something that I think about with some of the people who are in passing. I don't want them to say, how did he die?
Right.
I want them to say, how did he live?
Yeah. See, that's important.
See,
That's
a lot of
important, man.
a lot of people got it screwed
Yeah,
up.
that's
We
right,
we want to know,
Yeah.
well, why did he go to jail?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be concerned about why he went to jail.
That's right.
Be concerned about keeping the next guy
From going, following him.
Yes.
Right. And
See, it's
that's powerful. And when we haven't been using, and there's a young guy, I don't know his last name, but he stopped me yesterday. And God is good. Because like I ran into you on Saturday, I said, Rodney, we better do it. You said, man, I need to talk to you. I've been wanting to get with you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like just divine intervention.
Right.
And, you know, just seeing it, and then I saw this young man named Chuck. And Chuck was big time drug dealer. And I told him, way back when he was 14 years, I said, man, you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to jail. I ran into this guy yesterday, he pulled me over in the street. Michael J. I said, what's up, Chuck? Man, let me tell you something. Something wrong with our kids, man. They off the hook. And he said, I want you to believe what y'all was telling me. I was listening, but I just wanted to do my own thing. He said, but I need to talk to these kids. I said, Chuck, Saturday at Patrick Henry Rec Center from 3 to 7, you come up there, I'm going to put the mic in your hand. Just like if you come tell the guy, hey, let Rodney talk to the kids.
Yeah. I'll be there.
Yeah, because that's what it's about. They got to hear it. I don't want them to keep saying Michael J.
Right.
Michael J. Or
Well. You know what though? Let me say this. And this is sometimes when people look at you and say, "Oh, who might think he is?
right.
Why he think that he's supposed to be?" But you're doing what you're
I'm
supposed
doing what I'm
to do.
supposed to be doing.
And we as individuals, we supposed to become responsible
Yeah.
and be activists.
We are our brother's keeper.
We are our brothers and sisters.
And sister's keeper, that's right. And if we don't do it, we're going to have what we're having right now. You know, and then you bring in people that, again, gets those jobs. You got the right jobs, the wrong people in them.
Well, that's also when you got to think about when you voting, why
That's
it's
right.
important.
It's important to vote.
You got to go to the meetings, the town meetings.
Mhm.
You got to go in there and listen to what they talk about. Because let me tell you something. At one time, they was talking about making more parks for the dogs than they would have
No.
parks for the
No,
children.
that's real. And right before I came, when I was waiting on you to do this interview with you, I got a call. And the lady said, one of the rec centers, she said, can you get the police? I said, for what? We got a group of girls going up to McDonald's to fight. And I said, wow. So I had to call a captain, say, look, just send a patrol car, send him up there, you know, and that'll discourage them, hopefully. But I'm telling y'all what I've seen in the last couple of years, and it ain't about COVID. I'm tired of them blaming it on COVID.
Yeah.
It ain't COVID.
It was going on before
It was
COVID.
going on before COVID.
Yeah.
Anytime you see 35, 40 girls, used to be boys, now it's 35, 40 young girls want to fight. And I asked them this, who in the H taught y'all to hate yourself like this?
Well, hey Mike, I'll chime in real quick. If I starve you, if I get a, for example, if I get a whole case of mice,
Mm-hmm.
and I starve them for months at a time, then I throw them one little piece of cheese.
They gonna fight over it.
Well, which thing we gonna get?
Yeah. Chaos.
I noticed y'all were talking about things, it's by design,
Yeah.
but now we got to get a solution, and it's got to be in-house.
Well, that's good, boo, because that's where it's got to come from. And Rodney, I think it was Rodney was alluding to. Don't point the finger. Tell me what you're gonna do to
Right.
correct this.
Each one of us got to step up
Yeah.
and stop looking at people trying to label you as a person trying to get a check. Let me tell you something.
See, hey, Rodney,
Yeah.
you know, in the beginning, God gave us all the power to find definition. He told Adam, he said, I want you to call all the animals and name them.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever he named them, that's what they became. Right?
That's right.
And so we got that same power to define things. And first of all, we got to define ourselves. If we don't do it, somebody with that power do it.
That goes back to learning the history. That's right.
Well, again, it's also you got to change the old behavior. And I'm talking about not with your children, but with the adults.
Right.
Why we got some people that's in the city that's too proud to let little tiny things go and come collectively together to move in a force where they can say, if they can collaborate with one another, why can't we, the children?
It's funny you brought that up, Rodney, because what a lot of people don't know, some people do. I've been working on Douglas Cemetery on the south side. They say it was abandoned. I said, how is it abandoned? You got 2,000 people on record that was buried there, and you only have 600 headstones. So I've been fighting that fight, and I got some descendants of people from Frederick Douglass. What I found out, my mom told me when I was a kid, going to my aunt's house, you got people buried over there. I said, Mom, I ain't got nobody buried over in them bushes and weeds, because that's all was there.
Yeah.
Well, once the city came in and cut the bushes down, you could see the headstones. I goes over there, I find my great grandfather and my great grandmother and my grandfather who's buried there with his three brothers. I can't find their headstone, but I found my great grandfather and my great grandmother's headstone. My great grandfather was born a slave. He was born in slavery in 1851. He became free. I want to know what their life was about. So I've been pushing, and the city stepped up. We got $500,000 from the state, but I got the descendants, what we call stakeholders, and you're a stakeholder. Boo, you're a stakeholder because you're from Alexandria. That's who I want in there. But we're going to make that cemetery like the one on Washington Street that they try to cover up. But I'm telling our kids, they don't know the history and the sacrifice that was made. You know?
And that's what's important in life, because me and my wife was going to Poconos one time. We go down one of them long roads. And it was an old...
Hold up, Boo. Excuse me, Boo. Excuse me, Boo. Somebody married you? I guess they say the same thing about me. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. I ain't want to interrupt that.
That's all right. And look, going down that road, we seen an old barn. And I asked my wife, I said, why you think they didn't tear this barn down? Because they tear our stuff down and it went perfectly good.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think they didn't tear this barn down? I said, because they understand the importance of legacy.
Yep.
Right.
So the great, grandchild of old ever died, he come by and say, my grandfather used to work in this barn and he did this and that. He'll put it up there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's the roots.
Right.
The concept of roots, it says it grows down before it grows up.
Out, right. Up and out. Yeah, you got to plant them.
So we don't understand as a people the importance of roots.
Yeah.
That's what we had Sunday at the Charles Chicken thing. That's what makes it so spiritual. Because like y'all played,
Right.
and we end up playing and we play with pride.
Right. And the thing is about that, and I try to tell so many young folks, see, our young folks geared towards the NBA and the NFL. You know, we got to gear ourselves towards being productive people again, period.
Yeah.
Period. We just got to put that in. And I know the school system is now moving towards, they're trying to bring people in, which we've been telling them for years. They didn't want us in there because they thought we had too good of a relationship with the kids. But now they're asking us to come in. Can you come back in? Can you do 3 classes for me? You know, I told them I'm going to pick and choose what I do now. You know, because I know that you want the credit. I want the result.
Right.
See, this young man and young lady changed. Y'all looking for something different. I'm only going to work around people that reminds me of myself and have the same input that I had. And my wife say this all the time. She tell her friends and everybody. She say,
Hold up. So you saying that somebody married you?
yeah, boy, I've been married going on 5 years there. First time, but yeah, you got me back. See, that's why Rodney say, don't point the finger, because it come back.
They come back to you.
Yeah, but my wife said that all the time. She said, you always going and doing. I said, Pam, this is all I know.
Well, hey, let me be. If we get ready to run out of time, we still got a few minutes, but I just want individuals to understand the purpose of this podcast, and I'm taking this opportunity to say this. The title of this podcast is People to People. That means people helping people. People, when you deal with each other, you have to uplift. I'm talking about inside of your home is what's in your home. People. Mm-hmm. When you go to the grocery store, what's in your grocery store? People. When you go to the schools, what's in the schools? People. We got to get past this selfishness and not let it go unheard that we're responsible for who? The people.
Yeah, we're responsible for
We're responsible.
We're responsible for it.
We're the children.
If it's a messed up kid, who messed him up?
We did.
Yeah.
And it don't just not in his household.
Right. It's
We
outside.
talk about the next door neighbor too.
Yeah.
People, we're responsible. And so I said that to say we have to do what we have to do. And part of this podcast, that's our opportunity for us to show our voice and that we have a choice. I'm telling anyone out there, you got a young kid that's interested in learning skills in production, the door is open. I've been looking for somebody young to start a podcast. I want them to come in. So I'm gonna speak more about that with you, Mike. We can get a young cat that we can get that really wants to kind of be able to be the voice for the young people. Right. I'm willing to do that.
Yeah. And I'm looking for somebody to take my job doing community outreach, because like I told them, I might be out of there in 2 years. If God called me home today, I'm gone.
Well, you already know that. Let me tell you this. You can prepare. It's almost like having a football team. Mm-hmm. You can get a group of guys together and throw the ball out there. And if you don't practice and you don't train them, they got chaos. They're just out there. But when you start to train them and teach them how to run, how to tackle, how to do this, you start creating.
You developing their skill set.
Yes.
And that's what we have to do with our kids. We have to go back to developing our young folks' skill sets. That fighting each other isn't the way.
A real man, hey Mike, we Marines, so we already know.
Yeah.
You want to be a real man?
Yeah. Going in there.
Going in there.
Yeah, going in there.
Going in there. You want to know what it's like.
Yeah.
It's a big difference when you in another country.
And we Paris Island Marines.
That's
different.
right. We ain't from San Diego.
Yeah, we ain't from San Diego.
Yeah. But you have Marine brothers there too.
They good.
They all right.
They good. Yeah.
But we the PI Paris Island Marines.
We know what that was.
Yeah. I mean, so...
And that sticks with me every day.
Oh, man. And a lot of people don't understand, man. I walk with honor with
me
that.
Me too. Every day, man.
You know, and believe this. This is another thing that when you think about it, when we see another individual doing something positive, it kind of do something for them. Because a little short story, I was in Anaheim, California, walking down the street, and I look across the street.
Oh, you talking when I was yeah. I was stationed out there.
You were stationed out there.
Yeah.
And I looked over, and it was like, oh no.
Yeah.
That was Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
And they was looking at me. The Marines was with me, so you went in before me.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So I was in RTS training.
Yeah.
But when I saw you, I even more so knew I could make it.
Right.
Because now I got somebody that I seen that's already doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the importance of legacy right there.
Yeah.
You know, that's the importance of saying that the people who came before me achieved some things.
I can do it.
Yeah.
I got some
you can do it better.
I mean, it's amazing. What's the time, baby girl?
Hey,
7:59.
man, love
But
talking to y'all, man.
we're gonna go
Y'all
15
go
over
ahead,
since we were 15 minutes
man,
late.
love you guys, man.
Yeah, you too, boo.
All right, boo.
Good to
I'll
see
talk
you.
to you. Yes, for everybody, we're gonna run over just a little bit
Okay, yeah,
because
no problem.
because we started late. Again, it's about supporting the youth. This is not easy for us to get up and try to get out in the community.
Yeah.
It takes a lot, and it's the reward is not financial.
No. Oh, no.
The reward is
If
when
that was the case, I'd be a billionaire.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the reward is when
Yeah.
you see a young man and he come back up and say, you know, because a lot of them nickname me Pops. They say, Pops, man, thank you. Matter of fact, I got these young boys that over in Fort Washington, and I'm gonna show you how you work with the youth. One of the boys used to ride by all the time, and he pop a wheelie on his bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
He don't know me, so he ride by. What I do, I see him come by one day, and he waiting for me, because really every time he popped a wheelie, he really wanted some attention.
Yeah.
So you popped a
That's
wheelie.
why
So
he
one
popped.
day he riding, I didn't say nothing, and I waited, and he was looking at me because he wanted to see, you know, if I'm gonna pay attention. I said, "Pop a wheelie for me," and he popped a wheelie,
And it felt good.
and it felt good.
Yeah.
So now he rode the wheelie all the way down to the corner because he knew I was
I
watching.
know he was watching. Yeah, and that's what we're looking for.
So what he did, he ended up coming back, and as he came by, I then introduced myself to him.
Right.
So long story short, he rides by now, but not only do he pop a wheelie, he stops and talks to me.
Yeah.
And they knocked on my door a couple of weekends ago, man, from me having a conversation with them,
Right.
because I talked to them about stealing.
Right.
I don't want you to go
Yeah.
and get in no trouble. Now, I set myself up, because they knocked on the door and said, "Can we cut your grass?"
Mm.
They ain't got no lawnmower, no trash bag, no
But
nothing.
you got the lawnmower.
But I got
Oh, well,
everything.
right. Here you go. Go ahead. Yeah.
But I taught them a
Yeah,
lesson.
told him that's
I said, "Come on.
Be prepared, but I'm gonna give you this.
I'm gonna do that."
You fed
I lit them, 3 of them,
Yeah.
right? And now the more to the story was this: in order for them to do that, I did pay them, but they also had to listen to me, and I had to talk to them about some of the things. And then I also told them, "How do you feel after I gave them the money that just in this little bit of time you worked for it? See, you ain't got to worry about running from the police.
Yeah.
You ain't got to worry about nobody saying you stole it."
Yeah.
And they just looked at me. I said, "But don't it feel good?"
Yeah.
And they was like, "Yeah, Pops." I said, "I'm telling you. Now, you think that it doesn't work? Why, a couple days later, another one of their buddies came around to the house.
So they say, "Hey, Mr. Grimes,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
and yeah." But that's good.
He
That's
said,
what
he
you
said, "Hey, Pops, can I help you?"
Yeah.
But the thing is that if you plant the seed,
Yeah.
it will grow.
It will grow.
And it takes us to get out there to do
Right.
that.
On that note, it's a young lady. I'm very proud of her. Well, there's a couple of young ladies I'm very proud of. First is my daughter, Dr. Dawn Ingram. And when she introduced herself to some of the old heads or the old teachers that knew me, they'll look and say, "That's your daughter?" I said, "Yeah." And I smile. I feel real good. Then there's a young lady who's doing the WNBA playoffs right now, the China Robinson, who broke down crying because one of her coaches had told her she was tall, but she would never be able to play basketball. And I said, "China, all you need to learn is to rebound, make your free throws, and block some shots." And I said, "Come on, I'm going to teach you." You know, she wrote me a letter saying that without you, I would never be where I'm at. And I said, no. You were supposed to be where you at. I was just that person on the road to make sure that you was on the right path.
Yeah.
That's all my job was.
Yes.
Because somebody did it for me.
Mr. Putman, Mr. Gaines,
Yeah.
Mr. Ben, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm talking Mr. Ford
Yeah.
at the recreation
My
center.
cousin, buddy Ford.
We talking about Lucky Elliott.
Lucky Elliott.
We talking about Mr. Richard.
Yeah.
We can name many,
Yeah.
like you old folks.
Yeah.
You know, all these gentlemen,
Yeah.
what they do, they plant that
That's what they
seed,
see. Yeah.
and we supposed to do our part. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
But what I would like for you to do is again, you see the setup.
Mm-hmm.
This is available.
Okay.
I need to get a couple of young guys
Young guy,
in here
yeah.
to sit down with us.
Okay.
and we need this sooner
Yeah,
than
we
later.
need to kick it with it. Okay.
So that we can sit down. The technical situation, I'm gonna deal with that,
Right.
you know. But this is a platform for us.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. I know you already know.
No, you
that.
already told me that every time I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just
give me
use
out.
it.
Yeah.
And let's make it work.
Yeah.
Because when they start to seeing that we are doing our part, I think that then they'll start to
Right.
say, yo man, you don't have to carry a gun.
Yeah.
You don't have to sell drugs.
Yeah, you don't have to act like that.
You don't have to
be
act like that.
Yeah. Take advantage of the resources that's out there.
Yeah.
You know, because the resources they have, I go back to it again, we never had. Because if we had, just think where we would be.
Yeah.
And
we
those
got,
resources.
Yeah. And we got a lot of people out there that came through us. We saw a lot of them Sunday.
That's right.
That didn't have the resources, but they still here.
But it's still here.
But when you think about it, if they had it, oh man.
Look at the Thompson, Chris Thompson, his brother, all them went through the fire department.
I know.
And achieved rank.
Yes.
Because their brother Bucky went in.
Yeah.
My brother Steve, he brought my brother Steve in, who rose to the rank of lieutenant. I look at my brother Jeffrey, who just put on a boxing exhibition with Alice that hadn't been done in 25 years. You know, I look at my sister Stephanie that works in the school, and when they find out she's my sister, she mean. I said, well, that's what she's supposed to be. You know,
Yeah, but she handled
but she handling business.
Yeah.
She mean because you see it as being mean because somebody is telling you to correct your behavior.
Yeah, but you know what? They want to label it mean. That's passion.
It's passion.
See, but that there
Okay.
again.
Because if you really want to be mean, I tell you, get on about your business.
Well, if you really want to be
don't say
mean,
anything.
don't say nothing.
Right. And let
I
you
would
do
get
you.
what you do. You can walk in front of the car.
I'll let you do you.
Yeah, go ahead. Walk right on in front of the car.
Yeah.
Go in there and steal something because they got some place to lock you up.
Yeah, and I tell my son, and you know, all the time, like I tell other kids, you know, the thing is, why you need to jump off the bridge when I already jumped? I know what's down there.
Right.
Take my experience, you use it to your advantage. You know, that's just like I'm in business. You know, if I'm in business, I got this multi-million-dollar business. Well, who the first person do they train? It's kids to bring them in, so the business continues to live on. We stopped doing that. You know, our thing was to grab it and go, grab it and go. You know, I'm good. You're not good because you didn't leave a footprint. You know, and I think that I've been fortunate to be placed in the position that I'm in. And some of the people can tell you I get in some very heated arguments with quote unquote the establishment. But you're not going to tell me that it's 100 degrees outside when I know it's raining today.
Yeah.
See, but they do that. You know, so I'm not going to try to mislead you. I'm going to always give you the truth. And they'll tell you when I say, I don't know what I can do, but we're going to see what we can do.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you say, there's a lot of people out there that's working with kids, but we're working in silos. And inside those silos, our kids are. And our kids can't get out.
And we got to get them.
We got to get them out.
You said this. One of my older sisters, she's really my sister-in-law. She always told me, Rodney, don't never let them tell you that it's rain when you know it's piss.
Yeah, yeah. When you know they're pissing on you, yeah.
And now this is something. Have I ever tasted piss before? Because
Nope.
I haven't.
Yeah, me neither.
But you know what it is.
Right, right. You know the smell.
You know the smell.
Right.
You know what it look like.
Right, right.
And you know you can see over there. You can say, man, that's a glass. Even in a glass that you didn't even see them
Put it in there. You know what it is.
You know what it is.
That's what it looked like to me. Yeah.
So when it come down to it in the streets, we know when we see that people are ignoring us.
Yeah.
When they not trying to help us, they're not trying to give us the resources. They're not trying to give us the avenues to make the difference. When you know that it's piss in the glass, speak the truth.
Truth. There you go. That's the whole thing. Speak the truth.
Speak the truth.
Speak the truth. And that's what I do. And like I tell them, you know, they used to say, well, you know, he's a mad black man, or he mad, or he angry. I said, that ain't who I am. I speak from emotion and passion. As I got older, I learned how to give it to them in a very subtle way so they understand exactly what I'm saying. You know, what a lot of people don't know about me, I had somebody push me about a year ago to go back to college. So I went into Coppin State. I'm in Coppin State right now, you know, working on a degree in history. And, you know, my major is history. And I wrote a paper on the legacy of Parker Gray. I wrote a legacy on the people that came out of Parker Gray. I did one on the Douglas Cemetery. And I'm in the National Honor Society. And the young folks that are in the room with me, like, they asked the professor, what Mr. Johnson got to say? I'm like, wow, you know, because I've had that experience. And that's what we have to give out. And somebody came and reached out to me as a 65-year-old man and said, hey, look, I want to see you back in school, so I'm going to help you. And that's what they did. They guided me, made sure I went, registered and everything. And they say, why Coppin State? She said, because this is what I got set up for you. These people already know you coming. They want you. They want to hear what you have to say. Mm-hmm. And I bring it home by saying that everything I've been given, it ain't for me to keep, you know? And like I said, when I leave here, ain't nothing going with me but what I left. And I want to make sure I leave something. I want to make sure that somebody can say, like you say, how did he live his life? You know my name, but you don't know my story. Yeah. And yeah, I hit bumps in the road. I went high, I went low, I went around, and then something said, no, this is the way you're going. And I've been on that path ever since. That's the path that we have to make sure that everybody is available to everyone, you know, and our kids are our most important resource, because what they're doing now is putting one against the other. Yeah. You know, and now. But
when you talk about society, we talk about the system. Don't be naive. And I'm talking about everybody.
Like the young folks say, don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, don't get it twisted.
Everybody knows what's going on. Yeah. When them young boys is over there, like in Washington, D.C., killing each other.
13, 14 years
14 years old. You got to be kidding me when you're going to tell me that you don't see what is going on. Yeah. And why is it? Lack of leadership, lack of support, lack of finances. I mean, we got to give them the opportunity to be able to make a change in their life. Let me tell you something, Mike. I appreciate you coming in.
I appreciate you inviting me, bro.
Matter of fact, though, I'm working on something real big. I'm working on something real big, but it includes all of us. Okay. And when I say that,
let me know.
And I'll be there Saturday.
Yeah.
So you give me the you said it's between 3 and 7.
Yeah, 3 and 7.
And I'm just coming because again, it's my responsibility.
Yeah, and that's how I look at it.
You know, I don't know if people understand this, but you know when in the Marine Corps, when they taught us pride.
Yeah, first and foremost, you the best.
And I got it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's not about I need to be seen.
No.
It's about I know I gotta do my part.
I gotta do my part.
I got grandsons. Yeah. I got granddaughters. I want them to succeed.
Yeah.
And your grandchildren is mine.
Yeah.
And mine is yours.
That's right.
And it don't matter whether they're white, black, Asian, Hispanic, or whatever. They are all.
Our kids go together.
They all go together. You put them all in a room. Yeah. 3, 4, 5 years old. And believe me, they don't pay attention about the color. They want to know who can play some ball.
Well, right. Or who can play with them, or who knows who they can interact with.
Yeah. But we take them to a different level. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is People to People with Rodney Grimes. My guest today was Michael Johnson from Alexandria. And I appreciate all those who tuned in. Thank you, Boo Jones, for calling in. Yeah, and, you know, and this is what we do. And is it still running? Mm-hmm. Okay. And, you know, I can just tell y'all, this platform is not here to get attention. It's here to support the community. If you don't believe me, come out here, 1934, Old Gallows Road, and tell your story.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
My man.
Always.